Hi, my name is Peter Blanton from Kiowa County Schools in Greensburg, Kansas. I am doing my EDL850 Module 4 on corporal punishment. What is corporal punishment? It's a deliberate infliction of pain intended as correction or punishment. Many parents use a milder form of corporal punishment called spanking, usually slapping the child's buttocks with their palm of their hand. Corporal punishment differs from torture in that it is applied for disciplinary reasons and can therefore be limited rather than totally destroy the will of the victim. What is the controversy? Those who support it believes it facilitates change in student behavior and teaches students self-discipline as well as respect for authority. Those who oppose it feel that it is a form of legalized child abuse, which conveys to students that violence is an acceptable method of resolving problems. Courts still view corporal punishment as an acceptable form of discipline when administered in a reasonable manner. However, today school personnel increasingly are facing charges of assault and battery, prosecution, and even loss of job for abusive acts against students. The list above is the states that still allow corporal punishment, which is almost half of the United States are still administering corporal punishment within the classroom. In 2008, there was 223,190 cases where students were corrected at school by the use of corporal punishment. This makes up 0.46% of all students from these states, so less than 1%. Kansas, however, had only 50 cases, which makes up 0.01% of all Kansas students. The highest state was Mississippi, who had 38,131 cases, which made up 7.5% of all Mississippi students. Most states have different guidelines for administering corporal punishment. Most states have required to have parents' consent, and in some cases, the parents come to the school to administer the punishment themselves. Some states have the method down to how many spanks a child is to receive. However, in all states, the guidelines are defined of how corporal punishment is to be administered. If schools don't follow the guidelines, they are subject to lawsuits. Ingram versus Wright in 1977, it was a landmark case where the Supreme Court ruled that even severe corporal punishment may not violate the Eighth Amendment prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment. Ingram filed suit because of being subject to a paddling. State law allowed corporal punishment if it was not degrading or unduly severe. Although this paddling was unduly severe, the High Court, hearing the evidence and appeals, found no Eighth Amendment constitutional violation, only because the amendment does not deal with corporal punishment in schools. Although the Ingram case upholds the legality of corporal punishment as an acceptable means of controlling student behavior, local school district policy in many cases has seriously limited its use. Here at Kiowa County in Greensburg, Kansas, our school board has a policy against corporal punishment by any staff member. Administrators cannot use corporal punishment even if a parent requests it. However, there has been instances where parents have come to administer some punishment where they requested an administrator to be a witness. The last known corporal punishment use in Greensburg was actually told to me by the principal, and she said the last time she had heard of it was when she was actually in school some 20 years ago. So it's been a long time since it even happened here at all. Reasonable punishment. Corporal punishment, when permitted, should only be used as a last resort measure. Students should be informed beforehand of specific infractions that warrant its use. The punishment should be reasonable and consistent with the gravity of the infraction. The courts have advanced the following two standards governing corporal punishment. Punishment must be exerted within the bounds of reason and humanity, and the person administering the punishment must not be motivated by malice and must not inflict the punishment wantonly and excessively. Minimal due process. The student who is to be punished should be informed of the rule violation in question and provided an opportunity to respond The brief, informal hearing must be provided to allow the student an opportunity to present his or her own side of the issue. Upon request, parents or guardians must be provided a written explanation of the reasons for punishment and the name of the school official who is present to witness the punishment. Excessive punishment is when school officials must use extreme care to ensure corporal punishment is not deemed excessive. Excessive implies the punishment is considered to be cruel and unusual. Assault and battery charges usually accompany allegations of excessive punishment. An assault involves an overt act or an attempt to inflict immediate physical injury to the person of another. The overt act must be a display of force or menace or violence of such a nature as to cause reasonable apprehension to immediate bodily harm. Corporal punishment should not be inflicted when a student resists it. Here are the following references that I used in gathering data for my project. Thank you.